You're listening to the Love Over Addiction podcast. Hey, how are you? I had a nightmare a couple days ago about my ex-husband, and I occasionally have them maybe once a month. I'm never replaying like a specific situation in my head that occurred in my past. It's always a present situation that my ex-husband comes into, and it always ends badly. And it stays with me for days. And I think that's fascinating because it's been like a gazillion years since I left him. And it proves to me that what you and I are going through while loving someone suffering from addiction, it's trauma. It's real, legit trauma that is buried subconsciously in our heads and in our hearts. And I've done all the therapy. I've spent all the time and money doing the work. You guys, I make, I've dedicated my work to learning about addiction and helping others through this. And if I don't mean to be like, I'm like sounding snobby, but like if anyone should be healed from this, it should be me. And yet it's still, there's traces and there's lingers of trauma that still reside that need to be taken care of. And sometimes it happens, it's triggered because I hear some news about him from family members that makes me so grateful that I left, reminds me why I did, and it's super confirming that for me, leaving was the right answer. And then it works my way through my subconscious and comes out and manifests into my dreams. And other times it's just, I think there's just old residual fear there that will always live there. And that's why I want to say to you, and I hope this is confirming, that addiction tends to make us feel like we are the dramatic ones, or we are the ones with the problems and the issues, that somehow we're difficult, right? But in reality, the truth is what you are experiencing is incredibly traumatic. And that should hopefully encourage you to perhaps take a look at yourself and ask yourself the question, am I addicted to addiction? It's an easy trap to fall into. I fell into it myself, where you were born, I'm talking to you in particular, were born with an extra sensitive, loving, super spectacular heart. That the purpose of your life was to change people, change the world, make it better in some ways. We have a lot of teachers in our community that we're drawn to that profession because of our hearts, our desires to change little minds, make them into leaders, to make an impact, to give. We have a lot of nurses and doctors and therapists in our community. And the reason that is look at that field. It's all about serving others and gifting others and teaching others, helping others evolve. That makes us feel good. So it's absolutely not a mystery to me why you were attracted to somebody suffering from addiction. You were born with a very special heart that it feels good to help and serve other people. You are thoughtful. You are extra kind. You are more than loving. And you believe that your love can heal. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a beautiful thing. when using your gifts with the intention and purpose of people who are willing and ready to receive them and also give back. When you are talking about giving your gifts away to your relationship, a romantic relationship, not a job. So not your patients, not your clients, not your children that you're teaching. And if you are a stay-at-home mom, not your kids. But when you are looking at your relationship, your love interest, it is important that the partner that you select is willing and healthy enough, mentally, spiritually, physically, to give back to you what you are willing to give. Now, maybe they don't give back to you in the way, in the language you give, but they are willing and able and wanting to give back to you. And oftentimes we make the fundamental mistake because we are in such a pattern and we are conditioned from a very young age to just give and give and give and fix and solve and fix and solve. We kind of had drawn and attracted people into our lives that tend to take, right? So if you think back to your childhood, think back to your past, think about your friendships, right? Think about when is the first time that you actually experienced the gift, the feel goods of helping somebody. Look around your circle of people. Maybe you were trying to fix and help and give to a specific parent or family member. Maybe it was your friendships. Maybe you were the person in the friend group that everyone turned to for advice. Maybe you were the person in your relationships, in your dating life, where you attracted people who were broken, people who needed help, people who needed guidance, people who maybe needed motivation or reminding that they were special and needed to be loved. Look back on your past and think about your history with whom you surrounded yourself with and who was attracted to you. And I guarantee you will find traits of codependency there, where people were drawn to you like a magnet who wanted something, who needed something. You attracted takers, not necessarily givers. And why? Why were you a magnet for people who wanted to take from you, for broken people? Because you are so willing to give all the time to everyone. You were willing to put yourself last in order to make them feel important and first. And it's because you are so empathetic and so compassionate. It's one of your greatest gifts, but you have to use it appropriately. What does that look like? It means when you select a partner, when you select somebody to spend the rest of your life with, that person needs to love you and care about you and be healthy enough to be able to give back to you what you are willing to give. They need to match you, because otherwise you're just constantly giving and left feeling resentful, left feeling empty. That was a huge word for me for most of my life, is just feeling empty. I always just gave everything I had away, never reserved anything for myself, and completely based my self-worth and my confidence on how much I could help other people and what they thought about me, which was backwards, because it does leave you feeling empty and it does place your power in other people's hands. And you don't come into a relationship or a friendship confident and whole and feeling worthy. You go in feeling slightly desperate, wobbly, unsure, willing to give too much away, right? You have no boundaries. So when you're in a romantic relationship, you must ask yourself, how much does my partner give back to me? Am I constantly the one that is trying and making all the efforts and carrying this relationship through? Or is your partner the type of partner, and there are, that struggle with addiction? There are people like this that are willing to give back. Do they equally contribute to your health, to your happiness? Is your happiness one of their priorities? Because that's what you deserve. And that's the recipe for a good marriage. Now, it doesn't mean it's very easy to fall into the trap where, okay, now you're expecting your spouse or partner to make you feel happy. That's actually quite unhealthy, right? We are in charge of our own happiness, regardless of the people that we love. But, and there is a but, I believe that the formula to a successful marriage is both people are consciously aware of each other's happiness and are willing to help them along. You stand independently, but you look across at your partner and go, I can see you're struggling. What can I do to help you? Knowing full well that that other partner has your back eventually, that you will receive back what you have given. And you're not sitting there saying, I'm placing all the responsibility of my happiness onto my partner. You're simply, it feels so good, loving and nurturing to have a partner acknowledge that you're in pain and willing to step up to the plate and say, I got your back. I got you. What do you need? I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm loving you and I'm seeing you struggle, and I'm here. This is what it's about. This is what I signed on to do. And oftentimes in marriages or partnerships with an addict, you don't have that person. That person is so involved and wrapped up in their addiction that they can't see anyone else's pain around them. And it feels very lonely, doesn't it? It feels really lonely when you're struggling all alone and you think this person that I've trusted, this person that I've loved for forever isn't even noticing how much I'm pain I'm in. And oftentimes they don't notice because they're the ones causing the pain. So this is what I'm saying to you, okay? I'm saying and I'm asking, I'm requesting you to take an honest inventory of the dynamic that you are living with right now, today, and ask yourself, am I receiving as much as I am giving? And if the answer is no, I promise you with all of my heart, there is zero judgment, because I've been exactly where you are. And the first step to getting better is not about their sobriety. It's about being willing to be honest with yourself. And it sucks. Sometimes the answers hurt like hell. It stings because you don't want to admit the truth. I was watching a movie with my husband last night on HBO. It's Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. Have you guys seen it? It's called The Undoing. I can't get it out of my head. It was really creepy and dark. But the essence of the movie is Hugh Grant was having an affair and was being accused of killing. Actually, am I ruining this for you? I'm so sorry. So if you don't want to hear the ending, fast forward just really quickly. But Hugh Grant is being accused of murdering his lover. Nicole Kidman is this incredibly accomplished psychologist who graduated from Harvard and is the wife. And she doesn't believe that he is capable of doing this. In the end, she's on trial. She takes the stand, and turns out he again, fast forward right now, turns out he did do this. He did commit this heinous crime. He is a sociopath. And not only that, but, he was cheating on her with numerous women. And the prosecutor asked her on the stand and said, you went to Harvard. You're a doctor. How could you not have seen this happen in your own family? How could you have been so blind to your own husband's infidelity and ability? I mean, he's a sociopath. And I forget the term, but there was a technical term for it. I thought about rewatching it to share it with you guys, but I don't want to go back there. That movie was really dark. But there's a technical term for it where it's basically like you are logically aware of everyone else's issues outside of yourself, but you are blind to the person that you are in love with. You are blind to the reality and the truth of what is right in front of you. And I thought, of course, I relate everything back to you guys and me and think, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened to us. I mean, my ex-husband was cheating on me most of our marriage, and I was with him for 10 years. And I would have sworn to you that there was no way he was cheating. But all the signs were there. How could I have possibly been so naive? I'm a smart cookie. You're a smart cookie. How does it happen? And there's this term, and it's actually quite common, and it does happen. So the point of this is to say, we have to, our healing begins when we are truthful about the person that we are married to. We have to be honest about the state of our lives. And sometimes the unnormalness, which is not a word I'm aware, but the unnormalness of addiction starts to feel normal. And if we are in that unnormalness for an extended period of time, it becomes normal, and then we forget what healthy and normal actually look like. So we settle for constantly feeling with a low-grade state of anxiety. We settle for feeling loved maybe 20% of the time. We settle for the idea that, well, our spouses don't need to tell us where they are all the time. We settle for being called horrible names or being yelled at. We settle for these things because we think, because addiction has become normalized in our relationships. And that is a very scary place to be, because and that is my whole reason why I started this community, was because it became completely normal for me to wake up every day with low-grade depression, low-grade anxiety, with constantly worrying about where he was going to be and when he was going to come home and how are my kids going to survive, what are we going to do to pay the bills, all that stuff. That I got so acclimated to it, I almost became numb to it, causing me to settle, causing me to become stagnant, causing me to go, well, I'm going to rationalize everything away because I want to protect him. And if I unrationalize, if I really admit to myself how bad things are, how flipping lonely I am, how cracked and damaged this marriage is and has become, if I actually accept the truth head on, I will have to do something difficult about it. And that is scary. That might be the exact reason why you have normalized this behavior. That might be the exact reason why you are creating excuses for your loved one. Why you are talking yourself out of feeling what your gut and your heart and your head are telling you to feel, which is red flags, I need to get out. So if you are feeling that way, I am asking you to please reconsider, to take self-inventory, to have the courage to just be willing to accept the fact that maybe there is a possibility that you, in however many, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 2 months, whatever time frame, that you can actually get to a better, healthier place if you first admit that things are bad, that what your partner is doing in your relationship is not good. If you are willing to accept the truth, I'm not going to sit here and tell you you need to come up with an 8-step plan and you need to move out immediately and you need to do it. Please don't hear that, because I don't want you to feel anxious for me to say this to you, because I know you and I know you do. I know I'm ruffling some feathers here. I know that. I know how uncomfortable you are just hearing me say this to you, right? I get it. I'm feeling it. So please just start with the idea that things are not as great as you think they are. And here's what I want you to do, okay? I promise you, I'm not going to tell you to do an 8-step plan and leave. I want you to do some investigation, because knowledge is power. And we've got to get you back in control and back to feeling powerful over this disease. That's the goal here. We've got to get you feeling like strong, independent, powerful, in control of her choices and her future. Okay, that's our goal. And so how do you become that? It's not passive. You don't get there by being passive. You get there by investigating, by gaining knowledge. So here's my little assignments for you, okay? I want you to become like MacGyver. MacGyver was the guy that, was he the guy that like fixed things? Who's the guy? Columbo. I don't know. I really don't know. Inspector Gadget. Does that ring true for you? I don't. Doctor Who was an investigator. Who's the other guy? Sherlock Holmes. There we go. Let's go with that. Sherlock Holmes. I want you to become Sherlock Holmes. And I want you to gain knowledge. Now, some of you are going to be like, what? You want me to do what? That's an invasion of privacy. BS. Okay? We're going to put the whole right to privacy aside for now, because they lost the right to privacy when they are lying to you constantly about where they've been or how much they're drinking or what drug they're using or blah, blah, blah. There's no integrity in that. So the whole right to privacy thing does not apply. All right. I want you to, if you are being physically abused, please don't put yourself in harm's way. Please do not do anything that could trigger their abuse to you. And please, you can call the National Abuse Hotline. They have excellent resources and they have a wonderful website. But if you are not being physically abused and your safety is not at risk, I think this is a very helpful strategic assignment. I want you to go through their phones. I want you to go through their text messages. I want you to go through your bank accounts, all of your credit card bills, and itemize everything. I want you to find out, where is your money going? What are they spending money on? How much are you paying for addiction? I want you to find out if there's any other coexisting addictions. A lot of times, it's not just one addiction that's happening. If they're drinking, I want you to know, are they dealing with drugs? Is there a pill addiction? Is there a cocaine addiction? Are they smoking pot? What about if they're having an affair? Are they going on dating websites? Do they have dating apps on their phone? Are they text messaging anyone? Have they put their profile on anywhere? Go through your financial records. Find out, where is your money going? Become aware. This is part of being honest with yourself. If I had done this before, I would have known immediately that that there was way more than just buying a 6-pack of beer going on, right? I would have been able to take my head out of the sand and go, all right, this is my reality. I'm being faced with a man who is having an affair, who's paying for sex, who is using serious amounts of drugs and getting money withdrawn from ATMs in the middle of the night at random locations. And then I would have been able to be informed to make a decision about if I wanted to leave or not, right? I could sit there and say, well, these are all things that I think we can overcome if he's willing to get help and willing to get sober. Or these are things that are deal breakers for me, and I'm out of here. Another thing that might be helpful is ask your loved one to go get drug tests. I did. I went to CVS. I bought myself one of those urine drug tests, and I asked them to pee on it. You know what? This is about being informed. If they have nothing to hide, then they'll gladly pee on it. They'll say, of course I will, because there's nothing going to be there. Ask yourself the hard questions in order to get informed so that you have all of the information at your fingertips so that you can make a decision about whether you want to stay and this relationship is worth your future, or whether it's a possibility that you would leave. I'm not asking you to leave or to stay. I'm just saying get informed so that you can make an incredibly healthy decision. Let's not be that woman, Nicole Kidman, on the stand suffering from this, medical situation where we're just blindsided and blind to the person that we're married to. It does not mean we're judging the person we're married to. It's not sitting there saying they're bad and they're rotten and they're evil. It's not. And it's not sitting there saying, I'm out of here. This is it. It's not. So for those of you that are feeling guilty about this plan, I hope that eases your mind. You are married or in a relationship with this person. You are deserving and you have a right to know all of the information. You have a right to know. You do. Otherwise, what is the point of being in a relationship with somebody if you cannot trust them? They can't carry on a secret life without and think that's their entitlement. They're not entitled to that. Not when they agree to be in a relationship with you. A healthy relationship is two people that are able to trust one another. If you were able to trust them, you wouldn't have to do this. Like, I don't do these things with my husband, my current husband. Why? Because he's given me no reason to. He doesn't suffer from addiction. He hasn't lied to me in the past. We have a very honest, healthy relationship. I'm not wondering where he is in the middle of the night. I'm not calling him and he's not. When I call him, he answers his phone. There's been no reason for me to go through his things, right? But there is reasons for you. You are justified in this. And you do have a right to know, because how else are you going to make an informed decision about your future if you're not equipped with all of the information, if you're only privy to some of the things that they feel comfortable telling you? That's not how it works. That's not how love works. You are entitled to all of the information, all of it, even the stuff they are trying to hide. And if you're sitting here saying, oh, my husband, my partner, my wife, whatever, isn't hiding anything from me, great. Just confirm that for me. Just confirm it. Confirm it. Go through drawers. Go through their hiding spots for their liquor. Go through their pockets. Go through their closet. Go through their phone record. Get informed. And then, if nothing shows up, wonderful. You're equipped. You know what you need to know in order to make the decision about your future. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I hope it empowers you. Because again, listen to me. If there's one thing I know for sure, it is if you have listened to this podcast and we're at minute 29 right now, and you are still with me, you absolutely can have joy, happiness, trust, wellness, good memories, wonderful times ahead of you. It's right around the corner, because people that listen to this and that are willing to do the work do not stay stuck. They do not stay sad. They do not stay depressed. They do not stay weak. I'm not sitting here saying that right around the corner is joy and happiness and no anxiety, no depression, no trauma for the rest of your life. You guys, I opened up this podcast saying I'm still having nightmares about my ex-husband. It's not smooth sailing. You've been traumatized. You have very big gaping wounds that are bleeding out right now. Okay? It is okay for you to feel wounded and hurt and weak and helpless. That's, oh my gosh, that's so okay. But I am saying that in order to make better decisions about your future and potentially have a happier, more joyful future, it is important to know all of the facts, to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You are entitled to that. And if you are informed, and if you feel in control, and if you feel empowered, and if you feel like you know the truth, you will experience more happiness and more joy and more safety and more control and more anonymity. It's a hard word to say. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I believe in you. 100%, you are the few percentage of people that has a wonderful future ahead of them. Because a lot of people, and this is something you probably don't know, but I do, because I've been doing this for a gazillion years, a lot of people just choose to sit there and say, well, their addiction is their issue, and as soon as they get sober, I'll start to feel better. They're the ones that need to go to therapy. They're the ones that need to go to AA. They're the ones that need to go to rehab. They're the ones that need to clean up. And as soon as they clean up, I'm good. Everything's good. So I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to feel terrible, and I'm going to feel awful and depressed and anxiety, and I'm going to feel rage and anger and loneliness and resentment. I'm going to sit here because I don't have the power to feel any other way, and I'm just going to let them get sober, and then all of that will change. And here's the God's honest truth. They might get sober, they might not. But you're placing too many eggs in that basket if you think life will automatically change when they get sober. It doesn't work that way. It does not. And if you're too busy waiting around, what happens if they never do get sober? The statistics are very depressing about long-term sobriety. So what happens if they never get sober and you're just sitting waiting? Are you going to wait forever? You're going to waste your one life away? No. You, listening to this, are not. And the reason why you're not is because you're willing to step up and own the fact that, listen, I am my own entity. I'm my own person. My feelings are within. I have my own mind. I have my own heart. And I am in control of how I feel. And I am in control of my future. And I get to choose. And I don't know if I'm going to choose this relationship long-term anymore. But I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to do the work. And then I'll make an informed decision. I believe in you. You've got this 110%. And if you are one of the people who have already left and you are trying to gather your life back together, which I know we have a lot of you on this podcast listening, I'm going to do an episode just for you. Okay? So hang tight with me. And I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you for being brave and for putting yourself first and for getting out of a bad situation. Okay, I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. This podcast is created for your support, encouragement, and entertainment with my personal thoughts and beliefs. We are bonded together by the fact that we love someone suffering from addiction. This is not intended as a substitute for therapy or advice from a professional.